You're watching the Tasting Channel. Brought to you by I Can't Believe It's Not Gravy. Up next, the flavor of fuchsia. Followed by name that juice.
This is Sarah, and it's been another week, but I'm still working on tasting appendages for my robot NoodleFeet. So in my last update, I was working on the bean planting or giving module, and I have since been meditating on some of the amazing advice I received from everybody out in the ether. But I decided that it was time to move on to one of the other challenges or the other modules that I proposed making. Over the weekend, I had been working on the sampling module, which I'm excited to say is going to be my first actual tasting foot. So in the past, I liked to boast that I was working on different types of tasting mechanisms for NoodleFeet, and though all the things I developed perform functions that are very reminiscent of tasting, like juicing and licking things and like otherwise molesting surfaces, none of those things were actually, in fact, anything you could call tasting. So this is going to be Noodle's first tasting appendage. So that begs the question, how does a robot taste things? And you could answer, well, there's sensors out there that allow you to test for salinity or acidity or a variety of other attributes. Instead of going the route of sensors, I decided to stick with something a little bit more analog. So I ordered a roll of litmus paper. It's for testing acidity. And this weekend, this tiny little reel came in, and it's just little yellow strips that you can dip in water and it changes color. And everybody loves it when things change color, so. This weekend I developed this guy right here. And this is basically like a cassette player. It has two reels in it, and that's going to house my litmus paper. So what that's going to do is feed the paper down through a series of rollers, which you can kind of see in there, down to the bottom of the foot where there's a segment stretched parallel to the ground. Now, the active component that isn't in this mechanism yet is either a linear actuator or a solenoid of some sort that's going to push that little stretch right there down so that it makes contact with whatever surface this is standing on. At that point, after a test is administered, that small segment of used paper will get sucked back up into the foot and displayed in front of a color sensor. And the color sensor will take the reading and then it will log what flavor that surface was. Now, I like the whole idea behind this because it hints at some sort of robotic synesthesia, because Noodle's going to be relating tastes to colors. So one of the things I did because of that is I went into my kitchen this weekend with tiny little strips of the paper, and I sampled all the condiments in the cupboards and in the refrigerator, just to kind of get reference points for all the different levels of acidity or basicness. I think that's what you'd say, basicness. Whatever. So he'll be able to taste a surface and then go, well, this kind of tastes like pink. And pink is kind of like lemon juice, because pink on that scale is very, very, very acidic. So he'll be able to relate different things he encounters to the color, and then the color to other things that are also that color. If that makes any sense. So I'm going to demonstrate this thing working. So I have my color sensor set up, and that's this thing right here with the bright light. I have it hooked up to an RGB LED, and if I take different colored objects and show it to the color sensor, the LED will turn the appropriate color. It's working. I've hooked up that same circuit with the color sensor to Noodle, and if I hold up one of his eggs, his Easter eggs, to the sensor, he can see the color of the egg. Look at, ooh, pink. So this is the test circuit, and I have a button hooked up that will make this tiny little motor right here turn when I press it. So it seems I need to add a few more rollers inside my design to act as tensioners. This is to keep the ream or reel of litmus paper from kind of just going all wonky and loose inside my mechanism. Additionally, I need to add the mounting plate for the solenoid, which isn't in there yet, and I need to find a nice little dark place or create a little enclosure inside the foot for the color sensor to shine light on the strip of paper that's being tested. Once I add these parts, then I can install all of these electronic goodies inside the actual module. So that's 2 feet down. That's like 1 foot, 2 foot, red foot, whatever. And I have 2 more to go. So I think the next one, just as a little bit of a teaser, is going to be what I am lovingly referring to as the klepto foot. And you'll see why. It's pretty gross though. If I splatter that everywhere, it's gonna smell like clam in here pretty much forever.